Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you for your continued support of this platform. This platform is dedicated to you industrial professionals all around the world. You are bold, brave, you dare greatly. You innovate, you're solving problems, you're making the world a better place. That's why Industrial Talk is celebrating you. Thank you very much for joining, and again, thank you for your continued support. We are at IoT Solutions World Congress right now, broadcasting on site, Barcelona, Spain, and it is a wonderful event. This event needs to be put on your calendar. It is a must-attend event. So if you're not here in 24, put it in 25, make that a priority, put it in your budget, make it happen. You will not be disappointed. You get to meet people like Giuseppe. Upstream Auto, upstream.auto, let me get that correct, is the organization. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity and the importance of cybersecurity. Yeah, you're saying to yourself, Scott, I understand. No, you don't understand. You need more information around cybersecurity. Let's get cracking. All right, Giuseppe. Thank you for your flexibility from last night. We were supposed to have this conversation last night, but Giuseppe said, Scott, I understand you're busy and I'm flexible and I'll come back tomorrow. That's what you did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're awesome.
I'm really excited to be here today with you.
Yeah, I was excited too. I just said, all right, man, he's on my calendar, and I'm going, oh yeah, I want to talk. I'm looking forward to this conversation in a big way. You having a good conference?
Very good conference. So it's the first time for me here at the IoT Solutions World. I enjoyed it because I think this is a great place to be if you are in the IoT and cybersecurity space, as I do.
See, I like the fact that it's the two. It's like there is a real connection between that connectivity, that digital connectivity, that IoT space and cyber. I don't think the two conversations can be sort of had in a vacuum. I think you need to be able to have both conversations to be truly, to ensure proper connectivity.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
that is exactly why I choose to be here, because it's both one coin and you have two sides. One is the enabling technology and the other is, hey, that is kind of a risky place to be because it's operated by the internet. We know it's one, if not the most insecure place that we do things with, and therefore security needs to be a top priority.
And well, we're not going to get into it. Before we get into that conversation, Giuseppe, just give us a little background on who you are.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Giuseppe Serio. I'm based out of Frankfurt in Germany. I work for a company. His name is Upstream Security. We are passionate about making mobility safe and secure. What that means, we look at everything that is connected, predominantly automotive, transportation at large, and try to make companies more resilient against cyber attacks. So I spent last 20 years in the automotive industry. I have a background working with Big Blue, IBM.
Yeah.
Also coming from the consulting side, strategy consulting, and now I help clients to make themselves more resilient against cyber attacks.
I like it. I think you brought up something that was really, that piqued my interest, was the autonomous car, the vehicle, autonomous vehicle, is the most sophisticated IoT device out there. Is that an accurate description? Because there's IoT devices, but it's like, yeah, I want my car.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. So today's more sophisticated vehicle, which are not autonomous, they can have up to 100 million lines of code. To give you a perspective, a F-15 fighter jet has 2 million. Now that tells you something.
Wow.
It's the most complex device that we have built, and therefore in looking forward, when we talk about autonomous, that 100 million lines of code will be sooner or later around 600 million lines of code. And there's inherently vulnerabilities in software because people suck. We are not good in doing code, as a matter of fact, there will be vulnerabilities, and therefore we need to be very, very passionate on one hand. On the other side, we are cautious in the evolution of technology that moves people, because it's not a technology that breaks up. It's not the computer that's not working. It's people, it's life that is at stake, and ultimately also critical infrastructure, because imagine you could attack, and there's a movie out there like The World Is Not Enough or something like that, where you direct all the vehicles into congestion, and there you go. So what to do about that?
The topic of autonomous vehicles have been out for some time now. Do you find that there's a greater appreciation or recognition for the necessity to protect these complicated, assets, or is that sort of an afterthought, or do we need to sort of change our thinking in that?
I believe that with new regulation that came up in 2022 and now as of 2024, the regulation says that in order to sell cars you need to be compliant. Now there's one thing to be compliant, which is the minimum, and being risk aware, manage risk, and be resilient. It's a total different thing, and I believe with autonomous vehicles what really is changing is nobody's sitting in the vehicle and can say, hey, that doesn't feel right. So the human sensing will get obsolete as software is taking over. So the software needs to understand if there's abnormal behavior. I think that is a big mind shift that we need to have, and that's the discussion, because all the new technology with AI, imagine if the AI, who is controlling the AI? Because it's taking decision autonomously. I think this is the big threat that we're after.
What do you do? I mean, how do you approach that? I don't. It seems bigger than a bread box. How do you? I don't know. How do you begin? I don't know what you do.
Yeah, you begin to understand what are the risks, and one thing is to raise the bar. So there's constant effort involved in raising the bar against the bad guys, right? So making it really hard and tough. So building secure by design is imperative.
Right.
On top of it, because the nature of cyber attacks is such that you're never secure, or at least the mindset needs to be that no matter how good the protection is today, tomorrow it can be obsolete. So it becomes really important to constantly monitor, understand what's going on, spot any anomalies that are ongoing, and I say anomalies on purpose and not cyber, because sometimes cyber attacks are so sophisticated that you can't distinguish it. Is it now something that is misbehaving on the vehicle side? Is it something that gives you a trouble code, like a light that flashes up in your car? Or is it really a cyber attack that, and you understand cybersecurity only in the context. So there is no 100% security, and it's really hard to upfront say this is cyber. And I give you an example. So today you can do all sorts of things with application. Now you can start the car, start the engine. Now if I do that in the proximity of the vehicle, that's a legitimate use case. We want this to happen, right?
Yeah.
But if I do this from being in, Australia...
No, you don't want that.
Maybe I want. I'm a show-off and I want to show those guys hanging out. Hey, look, I have a camera installed in my house. I can show you that I can honk the horn.
Right.
But so context is important. So is just one car that is being turned on and off, or is it multiple? So you want to have that visibility, and the hardest thing in cybersecurity is to make it visible, because the bad guys, obviously, they don't just do the attack by, hey, I launch an attack and it will be successful. The way it works is sometimes it takes years, and they're already in the system waiting for that moment where they can do harm.
Every time I have conversations around cybersecurity, I just want to curl up in a ball and like, how do we because the reality here, using the use case of autonomous vehicles, it's happening. It's going to happen more. It's going to be ubiquitous, and it's just going to be there. It just is. And I thought your point of our senses will start to just numb a little bit. We're just not tuned in as much, so we just don't know.
Absolutely.
How do we create or build security for that resiliency? What do we do? I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so resiliency, from my perspective, has two sides. One is the companies that are putting out products and services, either there's regulation, and there's a ton of regulation in the mobile world, for sure, for obvious reasons. Companies need to be proactive. The meaning of it is resiliency is a combination of people who understand the problem, processes in order to mitigate whenever there is an anomaly, and then how to react to that. And an example I use is, how do you know your fire brigade is good? How do you know when there is a fire they will be doing their job brilliantly? It's because they train it. And what I'm mandating for is that needs rehearsal. It needs to be repetitive, as if a cyber attack has happened, so that one is prepared for when that happens. And the last thing is the technology. So the technology needs to be as sophisticated as the technology that the bad guys are using, because these are not isolated people who are sitting in the background. These are acting like corporations without the boundaries of having to do things legally. That is how you build resiliency. And the other thing is, and this is also something I'm advocating, most of the time the burden of, hey, make that product and service secure is on the ones who produce it. I'm a big fan of saying, hey, we need literacy, we need education. So the moment I go into my car and there's something that is not normal, I shouldn't click and say yes, like we do it with
click till you win.
Click, yes, and that's it. We need to have that mindset that everything is potentially an issue.
Does digital twin, virtual twin, enter into where you're simulating those vehicles, autonomous vehicles, being able to simulate those potential attacks?
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the technology that my company provides. It's a stateful digital twin, which is understanding the context of where and how vehicles behave and operate, and thereby you have the ability to do forensic investigation. The meaning of it is, I have a symptom, a red light flashes up. Okay, how do you switch it off? How do you go backwards and understand the source? Because at the end, we want to fix the problem and not the symptom.
I'm a big fan of that ability to simulate, to be able to sort of test and take into consideration maybe some variables that are just a little far-fetched, but you need to know what it is. So, how do you consult your client base? How do you begin them on that journey and saying this is sort of something that you need to be considering? Well,
most of the company, if not all the companies, as I said, there's regulatory environment where.
But that's new.
It's somewhat new, but for automotive in general, safety has been always a big concern.
Yeah.
So that is something that probably the last 30 years has been activated in companies to build more and more safe vehicles. Now, security and safety go hand in hand. They cannot be separated. And I think the important is to understand and acknowledge that. And I'll give you also another example on that. Now, for safety reasons, the head unit is now, everything is software based. It used to be buttons, so you would separate functions. Now, in order to reduce distraction, we have everything in one place. Now guess what? From a security perspective, that's the holy grail, because you have one point of failure. So one point that the attacker can attack. It's not a separated function, and you have just a limited possibility to attack. That's a great example where the mindset needs to shift where, okay, I do something in favor of safety. What does it mean actually for cybersecurity?
Yeah, I just think that it's such an important conversation. Not just, and it goes beyond the industry that you focus in on. And I mean, I just think from a truly connected, business, that the cyber conversation needs to be up front, not after the fact. Not after the fact that you've installed all these devices or you're starting to pull data and you're connected and all of that stuff, and then have that conversation. I don't think that that's the right approach. And I think it's becoming more and more apparent. It's a part of the success. You want to connect. You want to be able to access all of the wonderful technology that exists out there. You cannot do it without that cyber conversation. Agree?
Yes, but it goes hand in hand with what I said earlier. So on one hand, raise the bar. This is the design it in from the beginning. But we need to acknowledge, and this is really, really important, that it's not enough. We need to monitor it. We need to have visibility of what did we not think about. And attackers were smart in attacking in ways that we never thought it was possible, but then it's possible. So that is the conversation. It's like, it's still in the infancy. Cybersecurity for automotive is new. It's like going to the moon in the end of 60s, right? So nobody did that before.
Yeah.
So how do you know? You don't have that experience that you can build upon and weave into the conversation. So it's trial and error at the end of the day. I don't want to scare anybody because the industry is putting a lot of emphasis in cybersecurity. But
smart people
awareness is important, so be aware that the risk is there.
Yeah, see, I like that. Giuseppe, thank you very much. How do people get a hold of you if they want to know more about it?
I'm on LinkedIn, Giuseppe Serio, and I'm eager to have that discussion with anyone who's interested.
I love it. All right, listeners, cybersecurity. You can't ignore it. It's your best friend. Let's just accept the fact that it is your best friend. All right, we're going to have all the contact information for Giuseppe out on Industrial Talk. You know that. Reach out to him. Find out more. It's an important conversation to have. We are once again broadcasting from IoT Solutions World Congress. Barcelona, Spain is the location, and put this on your calendar for next year. It is a great event with great people like Giuseppe solving problems. All right, we're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
That was a great conversation. The event was IoT Solutions World Congress, as you know. Giuseppe was his name. Serio, S-E-R-I-O. The company is Upstream.auto. So make note of that. Upstream.auto. So I went out to their website. You know what? They do a lot in cybersecurity. They've got mad services and solutions. You just got to go out there, check them out, because if you're in the world of connected assets, IoT, cybersecurity, hand in glove, must happen. You must do it. Find out more. Connect with Giuseppe. He would be more than happy to have a conversation. All right? Industrial Talk is here for you. You have a podcast that you are doing and you want greater traction and attention, put it out on Industrial Talk. If you want to do a podcast, go out to Industrial Talk. If you have any desire to create a podcast, come talk to me. I'll tell you how to get it done. All right. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Go to IoT Solutions World Congress, and you're going to change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.